Hey everyone, today I'm super excited to show you how to crochet this adorable Kirby holding a heart. It's the perfect handmade gift for any Kirby fan. This is an intermediate level crochet tutorial, so you'll want to be familiar with basic crochet stitches like single crochet, increases, and decreases. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more crochet tutorials and content. To crochet this Kirby, you will need pink yarn for the body, hot pink yarn or the color that you want to use for the heart, and red yarn for Kirby's feet. You will also need a crochet hook. I'm using a 5mm crochet hook, a yarn needle, a stitch marker, and some stuffing. For Kirby's eyes, I'll be using felt, so I have blue, black, and white felt for the eyes. So you're going to want to start out by making Kirby's body, so you're going to want to grab your light pink yarn and your crochet hook, and we're going to get started. So for round 1, we're doing 6 single crochets into a magic ring, and I normally do the chain 2 method, so that's what I'll be showing here. Chain 1, chain 2, and then I'm doing 6 single crochets into that first chain. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that will be your first round. So for round 2, we're doing 6 increase stitches all around, and an increase stitch is doing 2 single crochets into each stitch of the previous round. So we're going to do our first increase, so that's 1 single crochet. Then I'm going to place my stitch marker to keep track of the start of the round. We're going to do another single crochet, and that's our first increase, and we're going to repeat that 5 more times in this round. So this is our second increase. This is our third increase. This is our fourth increase. This is our fifth increase. And this is our sixth increase. And you should have 12 stitches in total in this round. So for round 3, we'll be doing 1 single crochet and then 1 increase and repeating that 6 times around. And you should have 18 stitches in total at the end of the round. So I just did my first single crochet, and then in the next stitch, I'm doing an increase stitch. And then I'll be repeating that 5 more times. So single crochet, and then increase stitch, single crochet, then an increase stitch, single crochet, then an increase stitch, single crochet, then increase stitch. And then this is our last one, so single crochet and increase. And you should have 18 stitches at the end of this round. So for round 4, we'll be doing 1 single crochet, then an increase, and then 1 single crochet, and then repeating that 6 times for a total of 24 stitches. So we're doing 1 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet, and then we're repeating that 5 more times. So 1 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet, and again 1 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet, and again 1 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet, and then our last one, 1 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet. And you should have 24 stitches in this round. So for round 5, we're doing 3 single crochets and then an increase, and we're repeating that 6 times, and you should have 30 total stitches at the end of this round. So we have 1 single crochet, put the stitch marker on. This is 2, 3, and we're doing an increase. So we have 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, and then an increase. And we're repeating that all around. So I'll meet you back at the end of the round. So now we finished round 5, and you should have 30 stitches in total at the end of that round. So for round 6, we're doing 2 single crochets, an increase, and then 2 single crochets, and we're repeating that 6 times for a total of 36 stitches at the end of the round. So we have 1 single crochet, and then I'm going to place my stitch marker on, 2 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and we'll be repeating that 5 more times. So you should have 36 stitches at the end of round 6. So for round 7, we'll be doing 5 single crochets and then an increase, and repeating that 6 times for a total of 42 stitches at the end of the round. So we have 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, 4 single crochet, 5 single crochet, and then an increase stitch. And then we're repeating that all around. So you should have 42 stitches at the end of the round we just did. So for round 8, we'll be doing 3 single crochets, an increase, then another 3 single crochets, and repeating that 6 times for a total of 48 stitches all around. So we have 1 single crochet. I'm going to place my stitch marker on, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochets, an increase, and then another 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3. And we're repeating that whole sequence 5 more times all the way around. So this is what it should look like so far after round 8. So you should have 48 stitches in that last round that we just made. So for round 9 to 17, we'll be doing 48 single crochets all around. So that's just doing 1 single crochet in every stitch. And we are repeating that for 9 rounds in total. So I'll meet you back here after we finish round 17. So I just finished crocheting round 17, and this is what your Kirby body should be looking like. So it's starting to build up the shape, and don't worry about if it's a little bit of a cone shape, because once we add some stuffing, it'll help make it more rounded. So now we're going to be starting our decreases to make the round shape. So for round 18, we'll be doing 6 single crochets and then a decrease, and repeating that 6 times. And you should have 42 stitches at the end of this round. So we have 1 single crochet, place my stitch marker on, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I do an invisible decrease. So I'm going to grab the front loops of the next 2 stitches, and then pull up a loop, and then pull through both. And I'm going to repeat that 5 more times. So for round 19, we'll be doing 5 single crochets and then a decrease, and repeating that 6 times. And you should have 36 stitches at the end of round 19. So we have 1 single crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then an invisible decrease. And we're repeating that 5 more times around. So for round 20, we'll be doing 4 single crochets and then a decrease, and repeating that 6 times. And you should have 30 stitches at the end of the round. So we have 1 single crochet, 2, 3, 4, and then an invisible decrease. And we're repeating that 5 more times. Okay, so I finished round 20, and this is what your Kirby body should be looking like. So we've built up a lot of the rows, and we're starting to close out the sphere. And so before it gets too narrow, we're going to go ahead and start stuffing the body. And we're going to want to stuff generously to make sure that Kirby's body forms a sphere shape. So that should help get rid of the cone if you do have one. So I'm going to grab my polyfill. You can also use yarn scraps if you have any to start stuffing the body. And usually I like to start by moving the stuffing towards the outside of the plushie to kind of build up a wall, and then I'll fill the inside with stuffing after. And just make sure to consistently check, make sure that it's even. So like right now I can see that it's kind of lumpy, it's not even, so it means I still need to add some more stuffing. And yeah, I would definitely recommend just making small adjustments as you stuff and making sure that you're not missing any spots and not overstuffing any spots. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how my stuffing is so far, so I'm going to keep on crocheting. And again, we'll continue to stuff as we go along. So for round 21, we're going to be doing 3 single crochets and then a decrease, and repeating that 6 times for a total of 24 stitches in this round. So we have 1 single crochet, 2, 3, and then an invisible decrease. And we're repeating that 5 more times all the way around. So for round 22, we'll be doing 2 single crochets and then a decrease and repeating that 6 times around. And you should have a total of 18 stitches at the end of that round. So we have 1 single crochet, 2, and then an invisible decrease. And we're repeating that 5 more times around. So now I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more stuffing to the sides since I've crocheted a few more rounds, and that should help again make it more like a spherical shape. I'm going to grab some stuffing and stuff the edge, and then I'm going to stuff the middle part. So this is what my Kirby body is looking like so far, and we still have a few more rounds to complete, so I'm going to keep going. So for round 23, we'll be doing 1 single crochet and then a decrease and repeating that 6 times around for a total of 12 stitches in this round. So we have 1 single crochet, and then an invisible decrease, and we'll be repeating that 5 more times around. And then I'm going to go ahead and again add just a little bit of stuffing, just because it'll get harder and harder to add it because the hole gets smaller. So it's better to add it now while there's still a pretty big gap. Again, just double check. So flip your plushie over, make sure that it's forming that rounded Kirby shape that we want. And I think it looks pretty good. So now we are on the last round of the body. So round 24, we will be doing 6 decrease stitches all around for a total of 6 stitches. So we're going to do my first invisible decrease, and we'll be doing that 5 more times around. And then I'm just going to finish off. So I normally just do this by doing a slip stitch into the next stitch. And then I'm going to leave a long tail so that we can close up that gap. I'm going to pull the yarn tail through. And then there's still a little hole, so I'm just going to add, again, a little bit of stuffing because we do want to make the bottom rounded as well to make sure that it is a spherical shape. So this is what my Kirby body looks like. So now I'm going to grab my yarn needle and weave this yarn tail onto my yarn needle. And we're basically going to weave through the front loops of the last round, and then we're going to pull tightly and that'll close up this hole. So this is the front loop. The front loop is the, if you look at a stitch, it forms like a V shape. It's the half of the V that is closest to you. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've weaved through all 6 of the front loops of the last round, and now I am just going to pull tightly, and that'll go ahead and close up that hole. So now I usually just kind of go across to secure the plushie. I'll do it a few times, just kind of mimicking the stitches all the way around, and the body's all the same color, so it doesn't really matter where you are exiting out your yarn tail, but I just usually do this a few times to make sure that the end of the plushie is super secure. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off that yarn tail. Just use the scissors to push in the end, and this is what Kirby's body looks like. So this is the top, which is the first round. The last round will be the bottom of Kirby, and then this is the side where his face will go. Next, we're going to crochet Kirby's arms. So you're going to want to grab your light pink yarn again, which is the same color you used for Kirby's body, and your crochet hook, and we're going to get started. And you're going to want to make 2 of his arms. So for round 1, we are doing 5 single crochets into a magic ring. And again, I normally do the chain 2 method, so that's what I'll show here. So I chain 1, chain 2, and then I do 5 single crochets into that first chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's round 1. So for round 2, we'll be doing 5 increase stitches all the way around. And again, an increase stitch is doing 2 single crochets into every stitch of the previous round. And you should have 10 stitches at the end of this round. So we're going to do 1 single crochet. I'm going to place my stitch marker to mark the first stitch. And then we're going to do another single crochet into that same stitch, and that'll be the first increase stitch. And we'll be doing that 4 more times around. And again, you should have 10 stitches at the end of round 2. So for round 3, we'll be doing 1 single crochet and then an increase and repeating that 5 times around. And you should have a total of 15 stitches at the end of this round. So we have 1 single crochet, and then an increase stitch, 1 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet, increase. For rounds 4 to 5, you'll be doing 15 single crochets all around, so that's just doing 1 single crochet into every stitch. And you're doing this for 2 rounds. So I'll meet you back here after we finish round 5. And this is what Kirby's arm should look like. And now we're going to finish off and then leave a long tail for sewing. So I normally just do this by doing a slip stitch into the next stitch. Then you're going to want to leave a long yarn tail and cut off the yarn. And so we just made 1 arm, so we're going to go ahead and make the second arm, which is following just the same rounds. And you should now have 2 arms that look like this. And we'll sew them on later after we finish crocheting all the parts and also making Kirby's eyes, since that'll help determine the placement of the arms. So next we're going to be making Kirby's feet. So go ahead and grab your red yarn, and we'll be making 2 of these. So for round 1, you're going to want to go ahead and chain 6. So I'm making my slip knot. And we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it should look like this. And then starting in the second chain from your hook, you're going to want to do 1 single crochet. So this is the first chain, and so we're going to go into that second chain and do a single crochet. And then I'm going to mark this stitch with my stitch marker. Then we're going to be doing 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3. And in that last stitch in the chain, we're going to be doing 3 single crochets into that same stitch. So 1, 2, 3. Then you're going to want to turn the chain. So these are the stitches you haven't worked in yet. And on this other side of the chain, we're going to want to do 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So we have 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet in the next stitch, and this is our 3rd single crochet in the next stitch after. Then we're going to want to do an increase stitch in the last stitch of the round. So I'm going to do an increase, and this is what it should be looking like. So it should be kind of like an oval shape. And you should have 12 stitches in this round. So for round 2, we'll be doing 3 single crochets and then 3 increases and then repeating that twice. And you will have a total of 18 stitches in this round. So we'll do 1 single crochet, then I'm placing my stitch marker in that first stitch. 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, and then I'm increasing in the next 3 stitches. So this is our first increase, this is our second increase stitch, and this is our 3rd increase stitch. Then we'll be repeating that again. So we have 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, and then we'll be doing 3 increases. So 1 increase stitch, and the next stitch, another increase stitch, and then in the next stitch, another increase stitch. And you should have 18 stitches in this round. So for round 3, we'll be doing 3 single crochets, and then we'll be doing 1 single crochet and then an increase. And we're repeating that 1 single crochet increase 3 times. And then we're repeating that whole sequence twice. So that's a little confusing, but I'll go ahead and show you how to do this. And you'll have 24 stitches at the end of this round. So we have 1 single crochet, place my stitch marker in, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet. Then we're going to be doing 1 single crochet, and then in the next stitch, an increase stitch. And we're repeating that 2 more times. So another single crochet, and then an increase stitch. And then 1 more time, 1 single crochet, and then an increase stitch. And that whole sequence that we just did, we'll be repeating that 1 more time. So we'll be doing 3 single crochets. So 1 single crochet, in the next stitch, another single crochet, and then in the next stitch, another single crochet. And then we'll be doing 1 single crochet and then an increase and repeating that 3 times. So 1 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet, increase. And you should have 24 stitches in the round. So this is what Kirby's foot should be looking like now. And in round 4, we'll be doing 24 single crochets all the way around. So that's just doing 1 single crochet in every stitch of the previous round. So we have 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3, 4, and again, we're just doing the same stitch all the way around. So for round 5, we'll be doing 2 single crochets and then a decrease and repeating that 6 times for a total of 18 stitches in this round. So we have 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and then an invisible decrease. And we're repeating that 5 more times. And then for round 6, we'll be doing 1 single crochet and then a decrease and repeating that 6 times around for a total of 12 stitches in this round. And this is the last round of the foot. So we have 1 single crochet and then a decrease stitch. And then we're repeating that 5 more times around. So now you're going to want to finish off by doing a slip stitch in the next stitch, and then you can go ahead and leave a long tail for sewing. Cut off the yarn and pull through.
And you can grab some stuffing and start to stuff the foot. It's not too big, so shouldn't require too much stuffing. And it should form kind of like an oval-like shape, like so. And now we are going to go ahead and make another foot, and we're just following the same instructions again. And this is what the 2 feet look like together. So this is the opening. We'll be sewing this 2 Kirby's, so it won't show. And this is the side, this is the front, the top, the other side.
Thanks for watching part 1 of crocheting Kirby holding a heart. Part 2 is linked in the description box below, so definitely check out that video if you want to finish your Kirby. And if you're looking for additional crochet patterns, you can check out my Etsy shop. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok, and I hope you enjoyed following the first part of this tutorial.